Non-metallic structural materials. Non-metallic structural materials played a very important role in the early days of aviation. After the widespread use of aluminum for structure and outer skins, the non-metallic materials saw considerably less use in recent years with the advent of many new materials, some of which have been spin-off from the space program. The aviation industry is once again taking a close look at non-metallic materials for aircraft structure. Number one is wood. There is far less aircraft structure that is made of wood than there has been in the past, simply because of the greater economy of building aircraft of sheet metal. Wooden structures require quite a bit of handwork, and handwork is extremely expensive. It is possible, however, that an aviation maintenance technician will be involved in the restoration of a classic aircraft or use of the wooden home-built aircraft which are built as labors of love rather than an economic venture. For these eventualities, we will discuss the types of wood that are available for aircraft structural use. Now, types of wood. There are three basic types of wood used for aircraft structures. Solid wood is used for some aircraft wing spars and, as the name implies, is made of one solid piece cut from the log. Most of the solid wood be used in cut from the tree by the method known as quarter sawing. And planks are cut from the log in this fashion. These annual rings cross the plank at an angle of more than 45 inches, and there is less chance of warpage than when they are cut straight across or plain sawed. Wing spars require long pieces of extremely high quality wood that is free from imperfections. Wood of this size, length and quality is quite expensive. So many manufacturers use laminated wood spars. These are made up of 2 or 3 pieces of thin wood glued together with the grain of all pieces running in the same direction. Each of the laminations can be spliced so the spars can be made up of pieces of wood that are not large enough for a solid spar. The FAA allows solid and laminated spars to be used interchangeably as long as they are both of the same high quality and neither has a grain deviation that exceeds the allowable limits. The third type of wood used for aircraft construction is plywood. This is made up of 3 or more layers of thin veneer glued together so the grain of each successive layer crosses the others at an angle of 45 degree or 90 degree. Now, B. Species of wood. There are 2 basic classifications of wood species used for aircraft construction: hardwood and softwood. Hardwoods comes from trees having broad leaves, while softwoods come from cone-bearing trees having needle-like or scale-like leaves. These terms are quite deceptive, as some of the so-called hardwoods are softer than some of the woods that are classified as softwoods. The most obvious example of this is balsa, which is extremely light and soft, but because of this, its type of leaf is classified as a hardwood. Now, in this species of wood, I am going to discuss spruce. Sitka spruce is the most important wood for aircraft structure. And because it is available in large sizes and free from defects, and because of its high strength to weight ratio, it has been chosen by the FAA as the reference wood for aircraft construction. Number 2 is Douglas fir. The strength properties of Douglas fir exceed those of spruce, but it is much heavier, it is more difficult to work than spruce, and it has a tendency to split. Now, number 3, novel fir. This type of fir is slightly lighter than spruce, and it is equal to or superior to spruce in all properties except hardness and shock resistance. Noble fir is especially good for such structural parts as the spar flanges and cap strips, which must carry heavy loads in building and compression. Now, number 4, northern white pine. Northern white pine has excellent working and gluing characteristic, but its strength is slightly lower than that of spruce. Now, number 5, balsa. An extremely light wood grown in South America, balsa has no structural strength, but it is often sliced across its grain for use as the core for sandwich type panels where lightweight and rigidity are needed. Number 6, mahogany. This hardwood is heavier than spruce but it is stronger. Mahogany, primarily used in aircraft construction, is for the face sheets of plywood used for aircraft scheme. Number 7, birch. Birch is a heavy hardwood with very good shock resistance characteristics, and it is recommended for the face plies for plywood used for reinforcement plates or wing spars and in the construction of wooden propellers. Quality of wood. Number C, quality of wood. Any wood approved for aircraft construction or for the repair of aircraft structure must meet specific requirements with regards to its quality and the defects that the wood is permitted to have. Number 1 is grain deviation. Regardless of the species of wood used for aircraft structure, it must have straight grain. That is, all of the wood fibers must be oriented parallel to the longitudinal axis of the material. A maximum deviation of 1:15 is allowed. This means that the grain must not slope more than 1 inch in 15 inches. In some wood, it is difficult to determine exactly the way the grain runs, but you can see the grain direction by putting a bit of free-flowing ink on the wood. The ink will be absorbed into the fibers along the grain. Now, number 2 in this is knots. A knot is a piece of wood is that portion of a branch that becomes a part of the trunk of the tree. It may be round, oval or spiked in shape depending on the way the number has been sawn. Sound hard knots up to 3/8 inch at their maximum dimensions are acceptable in aircraft wood with the following restrictions. Number 1, these knots must not be in the projecting portions of I-beams along the edges of rectangular or beveled unrooted beams or along the edges of the flanges of the box beams except in areas of low stress. Number 2, they must not cause a grain divergence at the edge of the board or in the flanges of a beam more than 1:15. Number 3, they must be in the center third of the beam and no closer than 20 inches to another knot or other defect. Small pin knot clusters are acceptable if they do not cause more grain deviation than is allowed, and even though we see that knots of up to 3/8 inch are allowed, with reservations, any wood having knots larger than 1/4 inch in any direction should be used only with extreme caution. Spike knots, that is, knots which have been sawn parallel to the branch, will weaken the board, and wood having the type of knot is not acceptable. Number 3, pitch pockets. Pitch pockets are small openings within the annual rings that contain resin. They are acceptable in the center portion of a beam provided they are at least 14 inches apart and measure no more than 1.5 inch by 1/8 inch and are no more than 1/8 inch deep. Number 4, compression board. If a tree was leaning in its growth, its annual rings will not be concentric, and the summer wood, the heavier and darker rings, will be much larger on the lower side of the tree. Wood having extra wide summer growth rings has been subjected to compressive stresses during its growth, and it is denser and weaker than wood of the same type that grew normally. This compression wood cannot be used in aircraft construction or repair. Number 5. Compression failure. This must not be confused with compression wood, but is a defect caused when the tree is felled. If the tree falls along a log, some of the wood fibers on the lower side of the tree may be buckled and the wood will be severely weakened. Compression failed wood is identified by irregular thread-like lines across the grain, and any wood showing this type of failure has been weakened to the extent that it is unacceptable for use in aircraft construction or repair. Now 6. Check, shakes and splits. A check is a crack that runs across the annual rings of a board and occurs during the seasoning process. A shake is a crack or separation that occurs when two annual rings separate and is along the annual rings. A split is a lengthwise separation of the wood caused by the wood fibers tearing apart. Wood having any of these defects is not allowed in aircraft structure. Now number 7. Stains and decay. Stains caused by decay usually appear as streaks that may extend several feet along the grain from the decayed area. As a rule, stains that uniformly discolor the annual rings are evidence of decay. Rotted wood characteristically ranges from red to white in color. The stain of red ranges from red to white in color. The stain of red rot is in its early stages, for instance, is reddish purple, and in its force developed stage, the hardwood is honeycombed with small, soft white pockets. Even in the early stages, decay seriously reduces the toughness of wood, and in its well-developed state, it leaves the wood with little or no strength. Decay is caused by fungi that grow in the wood. When it is clam and proper seasoning and dry storage will prevent its growth. A simple way of identifying decayed wood is to pick a suspected area with the point of a pocket knife. If the wood is sound, it will splinter, but if it is decayed, the point of the knife blade will bring up a chunk of wood but no splinter. Now 8. Dry rot. Dry rot is a misnomer because dry wood particularly will kill dried wood doesn't rot. For fungi to attack the wood and cause decay, moisture must be present for a sufficient time to cause the wood to be thoroughly damp. Dry rot can be detected by inserting the point of a knife in the area to be inspected and prying a small piece out. Good wood will splinter while decayed wood will crumble. Prevention of dry rot is simply a matter of using killed dried wood with a moisture content of 20% or less, and then protecting it from the elements. Good finish protection like varnishes or urethanes and adequate placement and maintenance of drain holes are the best prevention. The only repair for dry rot is replacement of the affected material.